Okay. I don't quite know whether there's anybody there yet. Maybe I should check. See. Okay, so we have another 3 minutes until we begin. 3 more minutes. Hello, welcome. So in okay, hello Joy. Thanks for joining. First to join the class. Well done. Well done. Good to see you. Let's give everyone another 2 minutes and then we begin. But Joy, tell me how you doing? Joy Asukwa, how are you? Hello Morgan. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing? It's raining at my end. Is it raining at yours? So Joy is on WhatsApp saying we're not live on YouTube, but no, I've just told her that we are, and that some persons are already here. So you may also want to leave a comment to say you're on YouTube. Thank you for joining. Thank you for finding the time. Awesome, awesome. Morgan says I'm doing good. That's nice. So from your class, I saw this beautiful video. I can't remember whose handle, whether Chibroma or some other person. I saw that you guys did this very beautiful video on TikTok, um, talking about your last semester. It's so cute. Somebody should please send me that video. I'd like to share it. It was so emotional for me because it made me think about my last semester undergraduate uni days. Such a relief. I pray to God that for all of you, Nigeria does not happen to you. That you secure jobs, you secure something to begin to think about raising your family, giving back to society and stuff like that. But it's really been a ride. Oh, Judge Your Majesty, thank you. Thank you. Everyone, Rachel, Roland, I see you. I see you. Good evening. Who else is here? Apollos, Tobiah, thank you for joining us. Thank you. Yes, it's raining. It's raining my end. Um, I think Joy is still struggling, but I mean, we're here. Lots of persons are here. So, Joy, find your way here. Pretty Victor, good evening. Good evening to you as well. Emmanuel Jane and Nufire Mason to you as well. Emmanuel Jane is I thought it was Azibalua. I didn't know it was Izibalua. Okay. Um, but good evening. Good evening. I hope I didn't murder your name. Yeah. Good, good, good. Thank you for joining us. So there are 10 of us now. I think we can begin and others will join in. I apologize, first of all, that we had to cancel the class twice. It's been a new experience being a mom to twins. Things change last minute and it's been affecting me, but I mean, I'm happy that I'm here now. So we're just going to jump into it and sort of lay out what we're going to accomplish today. So today we want to talk about fundraising strategies and techniques. We know what fundraising and resource mobilization means. We've laid that out. And if you're in this class and it's your first time, then you may want to go watch the other videos or take notes from your classmates and just look at what we've done. We know what fundraising means. We know what resource mobilization means. But today and last week, we made progress along that path. We made good progress and we laid a foundation, sort of built on our foundation, talking about where the money comes from. Who gives us this money? What are the different categories of people? We talked about individuals, we talked about corporations, foundations. If you missed the class, go catch it up. It's important that you follow us through this journey because we're heading somewhere with this. But today, we're going to talk about fundraising strategies and techniques. When we talk about fundraising, we know what it means. But I mean, how is it done exactly? That's what we want to um, lay out today. So by the end of this class, like we usually do, we want to create sort of short objectives at the end of the day. We know what we've accomplished. The first thing I would like everyone to master at the end of this class is to know the difference between traditional and modern fundraising techniques. Right? We've said that fundraising means raising, soliciting, gathering voluntary contributions, whether they be financial, human, material, and so on, for a particular project. In our world, developmental project. Yeah. So we want to know the different ways because the world is changing, especially as a result of technology, and people are also changing. So even the world of fundraising is changing. So we have two broad tranches: the traditional way, the conventional way fundraising was done, and now because of technology, we also have modern fundraising techniques, and we're going to learn all of those today. The next thing is to identify and evaluate different fundraising strategies. So by the time we lay out traditional modes and modern modes, we'll be able to say, okay, this is best for this project and this is best for some other kind of project. And that's answers, understandings that, I mean, you're going to arrive at just listening to me explain these things. The next objective for today's class is we will learn how to apply the right strategy for the right developmental project. Okay, so what works best in what scenario? And then lastly, just to nail it, to come to a fine point, not just talking, discussing this as if it's something that just happens, you know, in a vacuum. We're going to talk about things that have been done, fundraising, real case scenarios in the Nigerian space. It's important that we'll talk about Nigeria because I mean, when we mention the names and we'll be able to recall, especially those of us who are really active in the media space and especially on social media. So these are just some of the four objectives for today's class, and I promise to make it really short, apt, so that we all remember. So we're going to make progress now and talk about traditional fundraising methods. We've said fundraising means gathering, soliciting, mobilizing financial contributions for a particular objective or goal. So what are these traditional ways that fundraising is conducted? The first one here is via grant writing. And one will want to say, okay, what are grants? Okay. So there are different ways that people can get money. There are different ways that people get support for projects. Um, Even in everyday existence, sometimes somebody you may need money for something, and you go to somebody and they say, oh, okay, I will loan you the money. A loan means you'll pay back, right? But when somebody gives you a grant, you don't have to pay back, but you have to be accountable. And so grant writing is that process, that proposal document that you reel out the objectives, the goal, what you need this money for. Why is it important? Okay, an organization may say, okay, we want to identify organizations who have interest in providing clean energy in a particular country, in a particular community. And we need these organizations to vie, in other words, compete for it by writing to us because we have the money. So send us your proposals, send us your document, make a strong case on why you feel you're the best person to get this money. And so every organization around the country, around the community, vested or interested in clean energy will get their team together and they will draw up a formal document making a case for why they are the ones who this grant, this money that they are not going to repay, but will account for. Why should it be released to them? So Ford Foundation, we mentioned last week Ford Foundation as a major foundation in the world that supports different causes, right? A foundation like Ford Foundation may say, we want to do something in education. And if you're interested, send us a proposal. If I have an organization that is interested in creating awareness around education or something around education, I may get my team together and other organizations will do the same. And then we'll apply to Ford Foundation to say, please, release this money to us. It's highly competitive. So your document needs to spell out exactly what you need this money for, the target audience, and they want to know how you even got to that idea. Are you working with the people? Are you doing it alone? How are you going to account for this money? What's the budget? How long will it take? All those details have to be packed in. In our next class, we're going to learn how to write proposals and we're going to see exactly how this works. But grant writing, formal proposal development to secure funding from foundations or multilateral organizations. Okay, so it's important to know what the person who is going to give you the money is called the funder, right? You're going to find out what are their goals. If their goal is education for all by the year 2030, you can't go to them or write a proposal about water. If their goal is health, you can't go to them asking money for education. If their goal is female empowerment, you can't go there discussing boy child, right? So is write out this document. It's a formal process. There are guidelines to it. You follow through the process, and of course, at the end of the day, they will make an announcement. These are the people who secured the grant, and grants can run from 100,000 to hundreds of millions of dollars. And we know historically a lot of people who have backed this kind of, who have adopted this approach or this technique to raise funds to get work done. The next type of, one second, apologies. Okay, the next kind of what we call traditional approaches, remember, we just talked about grant writing. The second one is direct appeals. So individuals, NGOs, vested in developmental projects, they have identified what they want to do. Now they need the money, they need the resource for it. What are they going to do? They can approach people directly. They can approach corporations. They can approach different bodies and say, look, we've been to this community and they need borehole. Could you please give towards the installation of 10 boreholes in this Okrika village? They can send emails. They can actually walk to people's offices. They can write formal letters, but it's one on one. It's not a competitive process. It's not writing to one faraway foundation somewhere. It's them, the organization, or the individual who wants to get this work done in partnership, of course, because in development communication, it's important to emphasize that when we say a developmental project, it's not necessarily an idea that comes from us. The ideas come through. I have to just deal with this 1 second, please. So, this is another way that this sort of thing is typically done. I'll give you a classic example. I've been nominated the LOC chair for Maiden Faculty International Conference. It's a huge responsibility. And part of my work, apart from creating subcommittees and organizing people to do the work, is also to pursue funding for our conference. Go around individuals and so on and so forth to say, we have this conference. It's important. We're going to be inviting people. People will come share their papers. So we're going to invite some renowned people in the state to come talk to us around a particular subject. And we need your support. We can't write for a grant for that one. But what we can do, given the time frame, or what we are doing actually, is we're writing letters, we're sending out emails, we're soliciting for support from individuals that we know, corporations that we know. People are even pointing us in other directions to say, you can talk to this person, you can talk to the other person, and so on and so forth. And so far, we're beginning to see some kind of results, right? So this makes solid sense. Direct appeal. Think about you as an individual. Sometimes you need something, and then you have to reach out to ask people to please, can you do something for me? You may have to reach this uncle or that auntie. But in this case, remember, when we talk about DEFCON or fundraising in the world of DEFCON, it's not for our own personal use. It's about one community. It's always for the greater good, right? These are not selfish things that we do. Okay, so direct appeal is another traditional approach that's always been there and will continue to be there. When we say conventional or traditional, we're not trying to label them as old, because till date, they are still very effective. Sometimes there are certain things that you want to do, and the best way is to just sit down, draft letters, and send to people that you know. Okay, because going through some formal roads or waiting for one long process may not get it done. So direct appeal, like I said, is another way in which people raise money and other funds in the world of. The next one is sponsorships, which is also a very, very, it's always been there. I'll keep making examples. That's something that's happening now, and I'm going to be drafting some persons in this class to also perform some roles during the conference itself and even before. We're going to need people who will do some work, and you get paid if we're able to secure the funding that we need for it. But it's going to be a very lovely experience for you guys, and also be your CV that you worked in this kind of project, and these are the outcomes, and these are the kind of things that you did. So sponsorships, traditional way of raising money for particular projects. What do you do here? You reach out to corporations, you reach out to even individuals, you reach out to brands, and you say, look, we have this project and we want you to come sponsor it. What does that mean? Bring your money, give us some money to get our work done, and in exchange, we're going to maybe enhance your visibility. For the FCMS International Conference, we're saying that we need different types of sponsors. We need a headline sponsor, somebody who will give us, tens of millions to carry out this project. What are we doing in exchange? We're saying, look, your logo will be on every item that we publish. What does it do for the organization? It means that people will get. We're also saying to the headline sponsor to say, look, if you give us the money we're asking you to give us to help us execute our work, it's also look good on your record. I mean, think about something. There's no organization or individual in the world who doesn't want to, apart from wanting to look good and all the other benefits that we shared in the last class, it's also, can we, I want to confirm because I'm getting some lost connection reports here. Can you still hear me? If you can, please say, okay, Morgan is back. Okay, are we back? There's a network glitch. Are we back? Please confirm. Okay, are we back? Restored. Okay, great. So we continue. This is 1818. Awesome. Okay, so sponsorships. I was using the conference as an example. Sponsorships are another example of a traditional technique of raising funds for projects. In our own case, we're reaching out to corporate bodies to say, we need money for our conference. Please, and this is the amount, this is our budget. Let's say, for instance, our budget is, say, 100 million. This is the amount of money we need. We're reaching out to people to say, come sponsor it. In other words, come pay for the event. Give us the money we need to successfully execute our conference. Okay? And how are we justifying that? Because organizations will say, why should we give you 100 million to go conduct a conference? What's our business? We're not even academics. I was saying to them that, look, education we know is important all over the world. Okay? You may not be a university, but we are. And the work that we do directly and indirectly impacts you and lives generally. So it's a good cause. But apart from you signing up to support a good cause, which is a good thing and will sort of look good also on your records, we're saying that in exchange, we're going to help enhance the visibility of your brand. All the promotional materials, we're going to put your logo on it. During the conference, we're going to give you 5, 10 minutes to address everybody who is going to be there. Coming on and off. I thought we were stable now. Okay. Oh Lord. Is it the rains then? Come on, rain, rain, go away. Rain, rain, go away. Paula Ekwemi says yes, ma'am. I don't know, yes, ma'am. How is it now? Vera, how is the situation? Can you hear me clearly? This class must hold. Network is working for us, for our good. Please tell me whether it's restored. Okay, Morgan says we're stable. I think we should all move to Morgan's location for more stable network at this point. I need a second confirmation. Are we good? Can you hear me? Okay, second confirmation. It's okay. Right. Okay. We are stable, just the rain. Okay, let's just try. I hope this records so that just in case anything is missing, people can come back and watch it later. So corporate organizations, whether it's for visibility purposes or as part of their corporate social responsibility, usually support different events and causes. So people who want to have conferences, or in our case, in the case of this class, developmental projects in organizations or communities and so on and so forth, can reach out to them to say, please, can you sponsor us? And in exchange, we're going to acknowledge your work. In this case, you're not paying back. You're not necessarily passing through any rigorous process. You're just sending a simple document, depending on what they ask you. Some of them will say, come see us. Some of them will say, write a proposal. Some will say, send us an email. Some persons will say, send us a letter and we're going to release the funds. Some other persons may go ahead and say, look, we're not going to give you money. Let us sponsor a segment of the event, or let us sponsor some of the people who will be attending the conference, or let's take care of the feeding during the conference. Let's take care of breakfast for everybody for the 3-day event. Or do you have a dinner party after the event? Let's take care of the dinner party. So sponsorships come in different approaches, but the vital thing here is a traditional way of raising funds. That's the most important thing I want you to take away from this. We make progress. Another way that there's always been there um, is by organizing fundraising events. So people can decide to throw a luncheon or a gala night or a dinner party, charity walks, benefit concerts for a particular purpose. It may be to raise awareness about breast cancer in a particular community, in a particular state. And we've seen those things happen all the time. It may be to raise funds for a young boy who needs a heart surgery. It may be for just about anything, but the most important part is, does it improve the quality of life of individuals? Is it going to do any good in our world? Are there solid communal benefits? And how did we even come about it? Was it as a result of conversation with others, or this is just something we thought up in our heads? Even if it's an idea that came from us, were we able to convince others to partner with us? And I'm speaking about this and emphasizing this whole idea of partnership from the perspective of development communication, right? So it can be an auction where people want to sell their clothes or their wares or their old shoes just to raise money for a particular good. Okay, so fundraising events, that's another traditional approach via which people raise voluntarily, give out their money for public good. Another way is via membership or subscriber programs. In other words, people may just band together and say, our objective is to raise 10 million naira this year to send people in our community to school. And they'll say, well, we don't have the naira, but what we can do is every week we'll drop something. Every month we'll drop something. Year project, every year we'll drop something. And at the end of the day, the goal is to reach that 10 million naira mark to get the work done. Okay, so these are a group of individuals. It may be a group of wealthy people in a particular community saying, well, we have a lot of young people and they're not doing anything and there are no jobs. What if we decide to pitch our funds together and send these people to go learn coding or to go acquire some kind of skill? And they say, okay, that's fine. And so the wealthiest people, say like 20 in a particular community, may just come together and say, okay, how much do they need? Do they need transport? Do they need accommodation? Where are we sending them to? Is it Lagos? Is it Abuja? Where exactly? Are we sending them to channels, the Channel Academy, to go learn how to be reporters, news writers, and so on and so forth? What exactly? And they'll come with a budget. The budget is 100 million naira. And we have 12 months to do it. These 25 individuals or 20 individuals may now split the funds and say, okay, this is how I'll do it. They are members and they are sold out to a particular cause. Donors become part of, they are all members of this giving community, contributing to a particular goal, for a particular public good. That's another traditional way via which people raise funds for developmental projects. And that's the end. Now we're going to talk about modern fundraising methods. When we started, I said, well, technology is here now, people are changing, the world is expanding. So we're going to look at it from two approaches: traditional fundraising methods or techniques, and then we're going to look at modern fundraising methods. We've talked about the traditional fundraising approaches or techniques or methods, and we looked at exactly four or five. The first one was grant writing, the second one, direct appeals, sponsorships, fundraising events, and membership slash subscriber programs. That's exactly five that we looked at. Now we're going to discuss modern fundraising methods. The first of fundraising methods, I remember I dropped an article for you guys to read. Ensure you've read it because we're going to be doing something with it shortly. The first under this modern approaches, as a response, of course, to technology and how people are changing, is crowdfunding. Okay? The use of different online platforms such as GoFundMe or Indiegogo. I hadn't heard about this one until yesterday. And Niger Fund. These are like platforms where you can raise small pittances, but from a large number of persons. You can imagine if 2 million persons decide to contribute one naira. That's 2 million naira. Okay? But in this economy now, in this Tinubunomics, to meet an individual who can just start with 2 million, not a lot of people know who can just write a check of 2 million for them. But via crowdfunding, raising funds online from a large number of persons, huge sums can be reached because online you have millions, even billions of people there that you can potentially reach. And we know a lot of startups and different sorts of people who have, via fundraising, attracted lots of funds, okay, to get work done. Until date, I know of people who wanted to do hairdressing, different sorts of things, who just went on GoFundMe to raise the money. It's such a very popular approach via which people raise funds now because the technology makes it possible. Crowdfunding. I mean, for our classes, we may decide to say, okay, we want to do something in River State University and we need 10 million naira. We may not know one person who will give us 10 million naira, but we can decide to just go online, go on GoFundMe, write out the title of the project, make a case for it, and then just drop it there. You'll be shocked. People in the US, people in Australia, all over the world may identify with our project and just send us small, small thing. Before you know it, the intention may be for 10 million. By the end of the day, we're raising 100 million. Or sometimes the intention may be 10 million, and all you were able to convince people to do was to drop you urgent 2K. It happens, right? But crowdfunding is using online platforms such as the ones I've described to raise small amounts of money, but from a large number of persons. And this, of course, is made possible by technology. If you have any questions, you can pop them there. I'll get to see them. But in the meantime, before your questions come, we make progress. And I pray that you can hear me because from my feed here, it says that the network is stable and I can still see the time in here reading. So I believe all is well. But if you can't hear me, please leave a message so that I slow down a bit and wait for things to stabilize. The next one is digital campaigns. Okay, they're quite different from crowdfunding. Crowdfunding, like I said, going on online platforms to reach a lot of people who can just contribute, tiny sums for you to get stuff done. These are campaigns using emails, social media, WhatsApp broadcasts, SMS to convince people to raise money for a particular project. Okay. And it's really, really interesting and to watch how these things unfold. Somebody may just go on Facebook and say, oh, okay. Okay, Chibroma says, Ma, please keep the slide. We are taking notes. Okay, yeah, I'm aware. And remember that because this is You can always come back in case you miss anything to see the video again and take as much as you want. But yes, I'll keep it on. I was just looking for balance. Okay. To reach, you can use using digital campaigns. What that means, which is like under the modern approach as a result of technology and just how how people are now. There are so many persons you can't reach. Okay, if you think about going to their office, there are so many offices that you may not have access to, but via email you may be able to reach them. Okay, via WhatsApp broadcast you can reach just about anybody in your contact list. There are so many things happening now in the world that if not for platforms like WhatsApp or social media, we'll never know about it. There's so many persons whose lives have been saved as a result of these platforms. Okay, there are so many communities that have been spared, and so many good, so much good that's been done as a result of this platform. So, the goal here is to via social media share information that a lot of persons can see, and via that process they can respond, you know, with a solid the messages are designed, or the emails and the WhatsApp done with a solid call to action. In other words, steps that you want people to take. And in this case, the goal is for them to give money for a particular cause. So data campaigns are so powerful, and we're going to look at some of the examples coming up soon. We see it a lot. Sometimes people are sick and they've been able to raise money, they've done some work, they've told members of their family, they've spent lots of money, and then, you know, all the funds gone. And they need communal support. One of the ways that we see those things happen is maybe some random SMS, or maybe on social media or via email. People will write detailing their life story, and maybe it's a health concern, trying to get you to please. And at the end of the day, they'll drop an account and say, please support or help me. Sometimes people even do it for, you know, even for school fees, which is really important because, I mean, except you get to that point of need, you never really know how bad things are for a lot of people. And think about if it's just an individual, think about what people are going through in different parts of the world, in rural centers. Think about when a flooding occurs and the amount of help that people need. So these are some of the approaches through which people can reach out, organizations can reach out, NGOs can reach out to other people around the world, around the neighborhood, around the country, around the state to say, do something to support. Okay, so digital campaigns are another kind of modern fundraising technique. The next we call peer-to-peer fundraising. It's a strategy where individual supporters raise money on behalf of a non-profit or for a particular cause. So what that means is we are all members of a particular organization, or we are working as a team, but we go out individually to raise funds using different approaches. At the end of the day, all the funds that we receive, we bring it back to the common pool. We call that peer to peer fundraising, and it happens. For instance, for the conference that FCMS is organizing, we're doing a little bit of this. We have a team of people whose task is to go there and chase sponsorship, partnership, raise funds for the conference, because we can't rely on our pockets for that. Lecturers don't get paid as much. The River State University is a state university, and we know the state of the country. So we have a team of people who are reaching out to people to say, please support, support, support. So what we're doing is, well, each individual, you've got some kind of target to go raise the funds. At the end of the day, they're supposed to come report to the central body and say, we've been able to convince so, 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 and so. And this is the amount of money they were able to. Each person will now bring it. And together, we can have our conference done. That's one of the things that we're doing. So peer-to-peer fundraising is another modern way to raising funds for particular developmental causes. The next approach we're going to talk about is mobile money and USSD donations. And this is made possible again by, there's a little bit of a lag here. You'll get to see it. And I can also share my slides with you just in case anybody needs it. But okay, now it's off. Okay. So we know that in Nigeria, there's high mobile penetration. What that means is a lot of people have mobile phones, okay? Um, and the banks are also aware of this. And so all the banks, they have banking apps. So on your phone, you can just transfer money to anybody around the country and sometimes even around the world. So this approach is the use of mobile banking, especially in countries like ours, to raise funds. Okay, so somebody may just send you a message on SMS and say, please, something is happening. Okay, somebody is saying the slides are not clear. I'm sure it's because of the network. It will come up, but I can share my slides with you subsequently. So just do more of the listening. I hope that you can hear me. Okay, so it's just the use of mobile money apps or mobile banking to transfer money for particular purposes. Somebody may reach out, send you a message, send you an email, and say, okay, this is what's happening in the community. We're trying to do a festival at the end of the year. Please, we're asking every member of this village to contribute 10,000 naira. And this is the account where you can transfer it. You've not been to the village 1 million years. You don't even know, you can't even recollect so much about the festival, or you may not even be interested. But because you feel like you're part of that community, you may decide to just open your app and send 10,000 to the account. So that's another way that funds can be pulled together to get work done. And then we know about USSD codes. A lot of young people use these things. You just star 55D star, whatever, you put your account number and phew, the money is gone. Okay, so that's another modern way via which people raise funds. Why are we discussing all of this really? Why are we talking about this? There's one more approach. I hope the slide comes up. Why are we talking about this? You're going into the world of um, development, you're going to evolve into development communication practitioners. And one of the things that we do is that we raise funds to do the kind of things that we are supposed to accomplish in the world, in our communities, as part of our jobs and responsibilities. Some of those may include convincing people to donate for particular causes. It's important that you know the different ways that you can do this and which one is what approach is suitable for what purpose. Okay. The last of the modern approach to fundraising is influencer and celebrity endorsements. Okay, so this is very simple. Influencers or popular people, celebrities in a particular country, in a particular community, people who are well known and respected, may leverage on their followership to say, okay, this is what's happening and I need you to support. It may be for elections, it may be towards raising awareness about a particular disease or an ailment, and we see those things happen all the time. We've seen in the case of Davido, for instance, when I think for one of his birthdays, he asked all his friends to give him money, and they did. And what did he use the money for? According to him, he went to different motherless babies' home or people who were a bit deprived, and he shared the funds to them, which was really, really good. And we see a lot of celebrities also doing that, both locally, nationally, and internationally. Influencers lend their platforms to amplify fundraising campaigns. So something may be happening at the state level, and the governor may just decide to, oh, Sabinos, come and convince people here. Talk to your followers to please tell them to please contribute to this cause. And remember, while we're talking about fundraising, also remember this course is fundraising and resource mobilization. So while the fundraising part is more about the physical money, the finances, it's also important to remember that when it comes to resource mobilization, it's far more than that. It's about the material, it's about the technical, and so on and so forth. So these resources that we need to get work done can come in different formats, not just monetarily. It's important to emphasize that. We're going to make progress now. So for the traditional approaches, we learned five, and then for the modern fundraising techniques, we also learned five. The five are crowdfunding, digital campaigns, peer-to-peer fundraising, mobile money and USSD donations, and lastly, influencer and celebrity endorsements. I want us to quickly look at some examples, and I hope that we can remember. And if you can't remember any of these cases in Nigeria. I want you to please take it down, go today or tomorrow on Google to read up about them, because this is what your exam is really going to be about. You're not going to be defining for me what is fundraising. We're going to look at real cases, and these are the cases that you're going to analyze. During your exam, you'll be speaking to me, you'll be writing, telling me the approaches that were applied, the fundraising techniques. I'm not saying this question must come out. I'm just, be aware there is a possibility that I ask you for this particular instance. What kind of approach, what technique was applied, how much was raised, who was involved, who were the front runners, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we're going to look at some of these case studies now. The first one is Leah Sharibu campaign. Uh, I don't know whether does anybody remember who Leah Sharibu is? If you can, yeah, I would like to hear from you. Who is Leah Sharibu? Anybody? Hurry up and get 2 points now, now, now. Who is Leah Sharibu? Leave it in the comment section. Does anybody know who Leah Sharibu is? Her story was all over the internet, and you're always on your phone, so you should know. So, like I said, any of the cases that I flash and you don't know anything about it, please go read it up, because the questions will come. Let me put up another example. And these are instances where people did applied different fundraising approaches to raise money, create awareness for these purposes. The second example we have here is Flutter Wave and Save the Children Nigeria. Flutter Wave, do we know the organization called Flutter Wave? Does anybody know? Put it in the section. 2 points. Any of the questions I asked today, you have 2 points. But please, for everybody else, if you don't know, if you can't remember, or you're not sure, take it down, read it up, because a bulk of your exam question will be drawn from this. We're going to be analyzing case studies to say, what was this case about? What was the goal of the fundraising effort or the resource mobilization effort? What was achieved? Who were the people who championed it? We're going to be having this kind of conversations, but you're going to be writing about it in your exam. Okay, I'm going to be looking at the answers. Keep posting, we'll see. Okay, Slum to School Africa. That's another example, a very successful example in the Nigerian case. As you can see there, Slum to School uses hybrid fundraising, traditional sponsorships of students combined with digital storytelling. Yeah, that's another example of something that happened in our country. And in this case, even, when you read it up, you understand better. This is another case of fundraising. If you can't remember or you don't know it, remember what I said. Go look it up and read comprehensively about it, because we're going to be analyzing each of them. You're going to be analyzing them for your exams. The last one is the NSAS movement. Is there anybody here who doesn't know about NSAS? Is there anybody here who doesn't know about the Feminist Coalition and their role during the NSAS movement or the NSAS protests? If you don't know or you're not sure, this is a wake-up call. Read about it. Read about it. Master it. Understand it. What did they do? If they raised money, how much did they raise? If they raised money, how, of course, how much? How was it utilized? Was there a clear reporting system? What was achieved? Okay, I've listed 4 solid cases, and I want you to please go dissect them, read about them, understand them, because the future tomorrow, maybe now. Okay. The first one is the Ilya Sharibu campaign. The second one, Flutter Wave and Save the Children Nigeria. The third is Slum to School Africa. And the last one is the NSAS movement. Okay. In all fundraising efforts, there are some things that are really, really important and that we must remember, regardless of how it is done. Okay. For fundraising to be successful, for you to successfully um, raise funds for a particular project in a sustainable way, in a way that won't destroy your reputation in the future and close the door to donors and funders. The number one is, well, there has to be a clear and compelling storytelling approach. In other words, when somebody calls you to say, or you approach somebody to say, I need funds for project A, B, or C, you have to be able to tell them the story behind that project. Why is it important? Who is involved and who is going to benefit from this? How much is needed and how are you going to account for it? Storytelling is such a powerful tool in the context of persuasion. If you're not able to persuade people successfully, they won't open their purse. People open their purses, their checkbooks, their wallets, whatever, when they are convinced. If they are not convinced, shishi, you will explain, 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 tire. So storytelling is such a powerful part of the work that we do. And for you to tell a story, you need the beginning, the middle, the ending. What part of this packs the punch? And what aspect of the story are you going to tell funders? What part of that story are you going to emphasize? What part of that story are you going to repeat? What exactly are you going to tell them? And how are you going to lay it out in ways that are convincing? There are some persons who will walk into your office and tell you stuff and you say, like, this one is not serious. Even in everyday conversations, somebody may just call you up and tell you a simple gossip. You may listen to the person, and when the person is done, you just say, okay, I don't hear you. But there are some persons who will come and tell you something, and the next minute, you want to go to war on their behalf. So it's really, really important. Clear and compelling storytelling. The next thing for successful fundraising efforts is consistent donor engagement. So when you approach people, whether you send them email or you send them a letter or you're approaching them directly, you need to stay in touch. Sometimes people will just go there, they will give them 2 million, and that's the last time you hear from them. And donors don't like that character. They want you to not only show appreciation, they also want you, which brings us to the third element here, transparency and accountability. They want you to tell them exactly how the funds were expended. They want to build a relationship with you. And it's actually good for you that you maintain that relationship. Because you may feel like, oh, I asked for money and they gave to me and that's it. Tomorrow you may need a project and you may need those same people. And when you go to them, they'll be like, the one we gave you didn't hear from me again. Breach of trust. So, clear and compelling storytelling, consistent donor engagement, transparency and accountability, very, very important. The next is use of appropriate technology. There are some persons who prefer you call them. Some other persons prefer letters. Some persons prefer email. Some persons don't even want you to reach them via any of this out. You just want to walk to their office. They'll say, no, set up a meeting. Okay? And then now that we know that there are traditional approaches, there are modern approaches, you want to ask yourself, for this organization, what approach is best? You need to do your homework and come up strong. There are some organizations that may be big, but they have a very poor email culture. So if you send an email, your email may sit there for a year. And sometimes you may reach somebody on the phone and the person says, okay, that's fine, we'll get back to you. If you have a poor email culture and they have a good email culture and they send you an email and you don't see it and you don't reply, you won't get the fund. So you need to understand that the use of appropriate technology. You need to know what the donor wants, what the funder wants, how do they want to be reached, through what channel, through what means. And like we said, there has to be consistent engagement, not to the point of irritation, because sometimes you can be in people's face. Sometimes you may be doing a project, and I've seen people, funders, talk about this a lot. You come to them and you say, "Oh, we're doing this massive project. Let's say, for instance, a conference, and we need you to support us," and they give you money. They give you like 10 million. Go do your stuff, and then the next day, the person calls the same individual to say, "Ah, now wow, my house food no deal. I don't know whether you can help me." They now personalize it, abuse access, abuse privilege, and people don't like that. The last one is building long term donor relationships. Really, really important. As an organization, at the end of the year, you want to send thank you messages, you want to send hampers if you can afford them, or just a simple card to say thank you for partnering with us, thank you for the grant, thank you for the sponsorship, thank you for the partnership, thank you. Or something happens to a funder, you reach out to them, oh, we heard about your loss. It's really, really good. Life thrives on relationships. The right relationship can open multiple doors. It may be one person, but that one person can open multiple doors for you. And I've seen it on a personal side. I've seen this kind of things happen a lot. You may just know one person, and that person will do so much, so much, so much more for you. Open multiple doors, introduce you to so many other persons, and then you're successful at what you do. So these are just some of the key success factors in the world of fundraising and resource mobilization. You don't want to mess with this. They're really, really important. That you have a solid goal, consistent engagement with your people, you're transparent, you're accountable, you know what technology you use as when, and then your storytelling game is solid. Okay? So yeah, that's what I really wanted us to do this evening in terms of understanding fundraising strategies and techniques. If you have any question, especially with respect to what we've talked about now, you can please leave them in the session. We have exactly 2 minutes before the end of this class. It was designed to be a 1 hour class, and I hope that we've been able to achieve something today. So if you have any questions in these 2 minutes, or if you prefer to leave the questions in the WhatsApp group, I can also respond to them. But I do believe that today you have learned something. All of it may not be new, but I think and I strongly believe that we've made some kind of progress towards our own event. We have said as a class, we're also raising funds. And I hope by the time I asked you, Broma, that at least at this point, 70% of the class have already complied. Please do it, do it, do it. You won't regret doing it, and it's going to be really, really fun for us to also sort of contribute, whether it's a faculty-based project or university-based project or a class-based project. We're going to determine that. But first, let's pull our funds together. It's important that we do this. It's important that I do this. And again, I also mentioned at the beginning of the class that whoever has got that video, the one that you made today, I think, was it Justice? I saw it on somebody's platform. Justice Chibroma, somebody on your WhatsApp status, the one where you were celebrating yourselves, that this is your last semester. I really, really loved it. I'd like to share it. Yeah. Any questions? In the absence of any questions, we have exactly 20 seconds. I would like to thank you. Despite all the challenges with the rain and network and everything, you decided to stick with me today. I thank you. There are those who've made it a habit not showing up for these classes, and I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry because you're going to graduate into a world where it's all about technology. If you don't participate in this small one that we're doing, how are you going to navigate the real world? Your houses, probably warm somewhere, just chilling, probably even eating, and you're engaging with me like this. It's good. Let's make use of technology. But like I said, our proposal writing class is going to be an on ground event. So I'll be in the class Monday next week, 8 a.m., for us to really trash it really fast. But if we do need to make progress, I have a time within the week, and we just slot in one more class so that we cover up for what we've missed. But thank you so much. Have an amazing evening. Bye.